welcome to the channel. Today we're going to be doing a reading on the mental, physical, spiritual. All right, let's get started. So for the mental, please, one card. Okay, we have the Four of Arrows. For physical, please. Card, the Four of Stones. And for mental, physical, spiritual, please. The King of Bows. All right. So for the mental, we have Four of Arrows. This makes me think, this card talks about like rest to transformation, right? Like this guy is resting, there's a butterfly above him, talking about metamorphosis, transformation, all those things. It's upside down. Get my words together here. Upside down. That makes me think for the mental that you're not allowing yourself to rest, in a sense, to maybe process information that could lead to transformation. Maybe there's something you're working through, something you're going through where you're like in your mind a lot. And I think maybe finding ways to calm the mind is needed because it needs its rest to process this and then change the information into something that will allow you to not only address whatever the situation is, but transform it. So I think like mental is on exhaustion and it needs the space to rest, to like work through all this information and process it and provide it to you in a way that will allow you to transform, like I said, the situation or the information. Let's get some clarifiers on this. One more card for the Four of Arrows, please. There it is, two more cards. Okay. So for this, it seems that there's a situation that you are mulling over that is regarding a big decision, right? Two of Cups can be a romantic connection, or it can be like a major decision, an important decision one. And then you have the Page of Arrows, and I think it's something you're trying to like think through, work through. Like this is all frozen, so like you haven't gotten to the answer yet. You're just like mulling it over and over and over, trying to figure out a resolution for it. And I think there's like a lack of you feel like you have control over the situation, but I think you're forgetting that you are the emperor, right? Like the emperor, how do I word this? So like you never don't have control over a situation, even if you feel like you don't have control over a situation. You can take actions to work through this or support yourself in a means if you feel like you've lost control, to ground yourself in the situation. Even if you feel like you have no control over it, right? You can control how you react to the situation and how you're putting your energy into the situation. Control in that sense, right? So there are situations you can't control, but you can control yourself in said situations. So I think understanding that you have more power than you think you do is an important piece here. That said, like when I know for myself, like when I have a problem and I'm mulling it over and over and over and over, I sit in my head and I like just, the wheels are just turning, right? So I think in that sense, for the mental, this is like it's a major thing, something big that you're trying to process or figure out, right? Or resolve, whatever it is regarding the situation and this like defrosting how to move forward with it. So supporting your mental while you go through this process, right? So you don't burn yourself out, overwhelm, exhaust, right? There's different tools out there and tools that you can use for yourself just to calm the mind, such as like breath work, yoga. People say meditation. Meditation doesn't work for me, but meditation maybe, even just going outside and sitting by like water and just watching the waves, right? That can be like very soothing, very calming. Walking in the forest. They say like barefoot walking is good. Just be careful of like rocks and stuff and things on the ground. But there's like a clean trail path that you can walk on. Walking barefoot on the grass, even on the dirt, just helps recharge your inner self, right? I would say like maybe try something of that nature, something that works for you to bring you out of your head, just so you can give that part of you a break, because when it's going on like continual loop, it can be exhausting, can be draining. And I think your mind needs time to process without running stuff over and over and over. So letting your mind have a chance to zone out, staring at an ocean, right, and just watching the waves crash and go back and forth, something like that, where you can get out of your mind. Whatever works best for you, whatever that may be, right, to just get out of your mind for a little bit and let this mull. It also makes me think of like when you're trying to solve a problem and you're like running it over and over and over and over and over. And then when you finally go to sleep, it gives you the answer, right? Because your mind is like, it's stopped, it's calmed, it's processing on the back end. Like your mind needs that, but not just in the dream state, in the present everyday physical state. It needs a way to turn off so that it can process it on the back end and you're not running it in the forefront. So whatever method works for you works for you. But yeah, the mental needs a break to work through this situation or problem or decision that it's trying to make. And so finding ways to let your mind just quiet down and run it in the background rather than you trying to mull it, I think would be helpful for the situation. All right. For the physical, we have the Four of Stones, which is protection. This makes me think that like looking for a space where you feel comfortable and safe. So here we have the Eight of Arrows, which is struggle. We have Nine of Stones, tradition, and Knight of Stones, which is like movement. It's the Knight of Pentacles. So building movement on building a foundation of some form. This kind of makes me think like in the physical, maybe you're in the process of moving, or like maybe there's something going on with like the basis foundation of home, I'm getting the feeling of. Like you're looking for somewhere where you can be home in like a safe space. Where you can be home in a safe space. So this lamb is like between these rocks. And I feel like you're maybe in the process of moving. Maybe you've lived with people and now you're trying to figure out where you're going next, right? Maybe finding your own space, maybe finding your space with roommates. But I feel like the physical is in this transition period of trying to find out where they're going to locate themselves, and where to find a space that is good for them, that works for them, right? Whether there's people involved or not, right? Like a space that is within their price range, a space that is supportive of all the furniture they have, right? All the items that are moving with them from where they currently are, right? Even maybe a space to expand, maybe you need like an office room for work, who knows? This makes me think that there's some transitioning happening with that and looking for that. And it's not that you're like struggling finding that, it's just like the ins and outs of that, right? Like when you're looking for a space, whether it's a home or an apartment, you have to go see places and put in applications and wait to hear back and right? All the ins and outs of that. While also the timeline might be running out on where you currently are to where you need to go, right? So I think it might just be like the stress of that happening here, of like trying to find your new foundation for yourself. And you're taking action on it. You're trying to move towards it, but it's like all the pieces of the puzzle have to fall into place, right? To find the right place, you have to apply for it to get the yeah, you're good to go. Then you got to move everything in there, plan the moving truck, all that stuff, set up all the utilities, right? So I think it's just like the whole process of that is happening right now, and you're just trying to work through it. All right, and last we have spiritual. So spiritual, we have the King of Bows. And the King of Bows is like someone who knows what they want and taking action on it, right? It's fire energy, they're moving forward. So spiritually, you're in this fire energy. Okay, King of Bows, please see what we get for clarifiers. All right, so spiritual. That's King of Bows, and then we have the Queen of Stones. We have clearance. We have Two of Arrows, which is like you're trying to balance something. And then Knight of Bows, which is more action. So this makes me think that you're looking for something that's yours, that you can own. This is like protection, right? This Queen of Bear, Queen of Stones, Queen of Bear. Balancing it, clearing out what needs to go, moving towards what needs to come in. I feel like in the spiritual, you're in a space of like strength. Like the mental was a bit tired for whatever was happening. The physical, you have some transition going on, right? That's happening. But in the spiritual, I feel like there's strength there. Like you know who you are, you know where you want to be, you know what you're moving towards, you know what you're clearing away, right? Like it's like the full picture is in the spiritual mode because there's understanding there of like why what's happening is happening, right? There's reasons to it. Moving forward, clearing, balancing, right? All of that. But in the mental and physical, all that has to play out, right? The mental has to process all of that. The physical has to walk through all the 3D steps that are included in this spiritual, I guess, like situation that's understood already playing out, right? It's like, I don't know. Let's say at a spiritual level, you're like, I am going to go to school in a foreign country. I know that I'm good with it. I got to balance it. I know I need to drop stuff, add stuff, figure it out, right? But like spiritually, like, yes, I'm ready for this. But then there comes all the mental of like, how am I going to pay for this? How am I going to, do X, Y, Z? I got to get rid of my apartment. I've got to sell my car. And then there's the physical of all that. Okay, now you have to actually go sell the car and file the paperwork and apply for the visa and right? Like, you know what you're doing and you know why you're doing it on a spiritual level, but then all the in-betweens, the mental and the physical, layered on top of that is what you're currently working through, because there's a goal you have here that you're trying to achieve, and spiritually it's set. You're like, yes, I know, but then it's just all the extra pieces of the 3D of moving through whatever this is that you've set into motion. All right, let's get some advice card or cards. See what comes out. All right, something new, which makes sense. And Six of Cups, and that feels familiar. Okay. So you have the 10 of Arrows and the 6 of Vessels. So this makes me feel like Six of Cups talks about like past things, right? That like a connection that you've known, or like just familiarity. And I feel like you're ending something to look for something that feels comfortable to you. So wherever you've been, wherever you're going, you are building something that's for yourself. That was something like maybe you're moving into your own place, right, for the first time, and you're building a space that's just for you, it's comfortable for you, right? And you're learning the ins and outs of all of that, because this is like instruction, but it's also the end of the cycle. So in the cycle of like living at home, moving out and building your own thing, or living with roommates and moving out and doing your own thing, right? Yeah. And you're learning all the ins and outs of what that entails, right? As well as yourself in that space, but it's a space that's just for you. built by you for you, right? And it's also sort of a new cycle of you learning how to manage this whole thing on your own. So, all right, I hope that helped.